Now, I'm currently 32 years old and I've been investing in the stock market very consistently for around 8 or 9 years now. I've been buying different dividend paying stocks and ETFs almost every single day the stock market has been open, whether I only have $50 of cash balance or $5,000 or anything else in between. I've been consistently buying assets that then over the last almost decade has been paying me dividend income, which I've then been reinvesting into more shares and more stocks and ETFs. Now, over the last 8 or 9 years of consistently investing, I've built a dividend portfolio valued between $1 and $2 million, and that pays me around $94,000 per year in dividends, or on average, as of right now, $7,900 per month. Now, this averages out to around $264 every single day of every single week of every single month during the entire year that I'm getting paid income into my portfolio for absolutely no work from me whatsoever. Now, one of the most common questions I always receive is, what are my favorite positions? What are my favorite stocks or ETFs, etc.? So in this video, we're going to go through my absolute all-time favorite 7 dividend paying ETFs. I'm going to share with you guys why each one of these ETFs are my personal favorite, because they all offer their own little twist on whatever their strategy is. But like I said, I'm going to share with you all 7 of these ETFs that I've been consistently buying and that have been helping me generate more and more income every single month. So if you want to see which 7 ETFs are my favorite and which help me generate $264 every single day of the week, well, then make sure to stick around, drop a link down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. So my first favorite dividend paying ETF would have to be one of the OGs, one of the first dividend paying ETFs I bought several years ago, and this is the JP Morgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF, or JEPQ. Now, JEPQ over the last several years has been amazing for my portfolio because it's went up in price since I started buying it, which is honestly a bonus because this ETF is more income focused. But along with that, this ETF has actually done exactly what it says. It's paid me income every single month since I started buying it. Now, JEPQ doesn't pay the same exact amount every single month. It could be in the 30-cent range to 45-cent range. But all in all, most of the time around 8, 9, 10% yield. Now, I like JEPQ because I'm a big fan of the JP Morgan provider. It's very trustworthy if you ask me. And JEPQ specifically offers Nasdaq 100 exposure. And for me personally, as more of an income-focused investor, I like Nasdaq 100 exposure, but I want that exposure through an income strategy. Now, all in all, JEPQ probably isn't going to be the biggest, best performer in the entire market when it comes to ETFs, but it's very consistent. It's relatively low beta. It's paid a ton of dividends into my portfolio. And as of right now, because I own several hundreds of shares, this ETF alone could easily cover an entire bill or two in my expenses. ETF number 2 of 7, my next favorite of all time as of right now, is SPYI, one of my largest holdings in my portfolio, the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF. Now, even though this ETF is relatively new, what it has to offer, in my opinion, is probably one of the best strategies I've seen in the covered call ETF space. Now, I've made videos specifically about all these different ETFs, so if you guys want to see those, and if you want to nerd out with me and go into a deep dive on all these, check out some of the other videos on my channel. But SPYI is another one that pays monthly. It offers a 12% distribution rate, which is higher than that of JEPQ. But along with that, this ETF offers exposure to the S&P 500, which once again, I want exposure to, but I want it in an income-oriented fashion. Now, this ETF is also relatively tax efficient. It has the potential to grow in bull markets also. But best of all, for us dividend or income-focused investors, it pays more or less the same exact amount every single month, which is honestly sort of amazing because you have an idea of what you're going to get on an ongoing basis. Now, all that to say that when it comes to S&P 500 exposure, SPYI does it the best in my opinion. Now, another NEOS ETF that's one of my favorite, number 3 on the list, has to be ticker symbol QQQR, the NEOS Nasdaq 100 High Income ETF. It's the same thing as the last one. The only difference is now you're dealing with the Nasdaq 100 instead. Now, this one has a little bit higher distribution rate because the Nasdaq is a bit more volatile. But again, another ETF with a great strategy, potentially tax efficient, has the potential to grow, etc., etc. One of my favorites across the entire high income landscape. Now, my next favorite ETF, number 4, is going to have to be SEHD, or the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. This ETF is not ultra high yield, of course. It yields around 3.5%. But the reason I love SEHD is that it's super cheap to hold on to, with an expense ratio of 0.06%. It's tax efficient. It has a potential to grow over time. It's very well diversified. And maybe most importantly, it tracks an index focused on quality and sustainability of dividends. Now, this ETF is personally one of my largest holdings, and that's because in the context of dividend growth, I think SHG does it best compared to any other ETF in the landscape. All to say that if you're an investor that wants some exposure to growth and income all in one investment vehicle, all for the cheap price of 0.06%, SHG is definitely an ETF to look into. Next favorite on my list, number 5, is going to be Devo, the Amplify CWP Enhanced Dividend Income ETF. Devo is awesome because it offers you exposure to some growth, but also offers you exposure to almost a 5% starting yield. Now, Devo buys into high quality blue chip names that pay dividends, but then along with that sells covered calls and individual names, which is how you're getting that 5% starting yield. Now, Devo's been in my portfolio for years. I've owned shares basically since as long as I can remember. This ETF has never brought me any trouble whatsoever. Now, the last two ETFs, number 6 and 7, are going to be ticker symbol GPIQ, and lastly, my other favorite is going to be GPIX. These are the relatively new Goldman Sachs premium income ETFs. I've talked about them in other videos and the fact that I love these ETFs because of the underlying strategies. Now, as you probably guessed it, this one, GPIQ, offers exposure to the NASDAQ 100, and GPIX is S&P 500. But both these ETFs have really good reasons to consider investing. They aim to generate a consistent monthly distribution, which they both have done so. It's another one of those ETFs where you can sort of assume what you're going to get paid on a monthly basis, which is helpful. But along with that, both these ETFs offer exposure to the NASDAQ and of course exposure to the S&P 500 for this one, but then dynamically sell call options, allowing for some participation in income generation, but also some potential for upside. So as a 32-year-old investor that does want to really beef up my portfolio and make it an income generating portfolio, but on top of that, I also want some exposure to growth because I still am relatively young, buying into ETFs like these ones that sort of have a hybrid approach, offering you some growth, some upside, but also a ton of income exposure is honestly the best of both worlds. I mean, the objective for these ETFs is seeks current income while maintaining prospects for capital appreciation. Basically, simply put, they're trying to generate you income consistently, but also trying to have the underlying grow. Two awesome ETFs, which is why these two would have to be number 6 and number 7 for me personally. So those are 7 ETFs that not only pay me a consistent flow of income every single month, because I personally own every single one of those in my portfolio as of right now, but if someone were to ask me in 2025, what are my all-time 7 favorite ETFs throughout the market, those would be the ones that come to mind. Now remember, just because those ETFs match what I'm looking for as far as an investment strategy and objective, don't mean that they're going to be the best for you, and don't mean that they're going to be the best for the next person. And that's because my approach is sort of income focused with some growth focus on the back end, and that just has more to do with my overall investing strategy. But now before I go, I do have one last question for you guys down below. When it comes to ETF investing, what's your number 1 favorite ETF as of right now across the entire market? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. So go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.